Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and many of you have probably began to hear the news from Variety breaking this news out. Supposedly James Gunn, the, showrunner right now of all the DCEU things, for movies and TV shows and everything, there's been a lot of discussion about what's going to be happening with Batman. They have a Batman the Brave and the Bold film that's supposed to come out of its own timeline, not a Pattinson movie, and it was going to be its own thing. Apparently Andy Muschietti, or whatever his name is, that did the terrible It remakes and the terrible Flash movie, was supposed to direct it, I guess. Terrible idea, on just my personal opinion. But he's even said, there's a delay on that. He may go ahead and make, a small movie or something. But then the big news broke from Variety that James Gunn, I don't think is commented yet on. I've heard a lot of people already talking about this, saying how big of a deal this is. And it is a big deal. The Batman 2 has been delayed for the third or fourth time now, and apparently the new release date is going to be October 1st, 2027. So mind you, this movie came out in March of 2022. This movie will be 5.5 years old before its sequel comes out. Now mind you, we had movies that came out sequels to a movie come out 8, 10, sometimes longer than that years later. But with a Batman movie, we've never had that, when it's a direct sequel to a previous movie. This is not a good sign. Now, I think it was on this channel a while back, I made a video saying, hey, there's good news. Seems like the Batman Part 2 is still going to happen. I'm telling you, even though I wasn't impressed with Part 1, I was hoping to see kind of what Nolan did with, Dark Knight. That maybe Part 2 would be way better than Part 1, because Part 1 has the same issues I had with Batman Begins, but I think Batman Begins is overall better, for me personally. The Batman wasn't a bad movie, it just wasn't a good Batman movie for me and what I want out of it. I think it has a lot of flaws and issues. I've talked about that a couple of times, even though I haven't directly reviewed the movie yet. I want to plan on doing that, and I was hoping to do that probably next year after the Superman movies, because I plan on reviewing those for you guys. But I gotta be honest with you, man, I don't think the Batman 2 is happening. I also don't believe Brave and the Bold is gonna happen either, even if, James Gunn's whole universe takes off for DCU or whatever. I just don't think that movie's gonna happen. I feel like they're gonna have a lot of trouble to fit Batman tonally into this universe. I don't know why I have that feeling. It just feels like that, because James Gunn already seems to be going for this kind of parody mentality with the things you see, like Guy Gardner's haircut, some other things out there. And I know some of you are probably rolling your eyes about that, but let's be real, man. That's kind of what James Gunn does. Not saying he can't adapt to do something better, but I don't know if I believe it's happening. And this getting a delay again, movies like this getting delayed so much where it's 5.5 years until it comes out as a sequel to a movie that was fairly well received by the majority of people. It seemed to me, a lot of people seem to love the Batman, even if I didn't. I loved Robert Pattinson in it. I'd like to see more from him. I'd like to see Matt Reeves kind of continue to do this Nolan knockoff, if you will, of his own Batman movies, because it was kind of cool. I liked seeing Andy Serkis as Alfred. I liked what we did with that movie, even if it felt like Nolan light. I dig it, and I kind of want to see more, as long as I don't keep getting hit with 3-hour movies that not a whole lot happens, It seems to me that people are right, that James Gunn must not want this movie to happen. Everybody keeps saying Matt Reeves has been writing it forever, Pattinson hasn't seen a script yet. I think James Gunn said somewhere that he had seen one version, like the first draft or second draft of the movie, and that it just wasn't ready yet. And his general motto, and I understand this and I kind of agree with it, is that you do not greenlight a movie until you have the script completely done and finished the way you want to do it. Before you jump into production and have to worry about all these rewrites and issues and whatnot, you can figure out a plan of how to work around those things ahead of time. And I think that's actually smart. I think James Gunn's onto something there. It feels, in my opinion, fairly classical Hollywood to do that, and that's a good thing. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's a little bit of an ego caught up in this that's kind of booting Matt Reeves to the curb a little bit. That just seems to be the general case to me. Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope this movie comes out. It could be released earlier than that. That's possible. But to come out with a sequel 5.5 years later, even the Dark Knight films had a movie every 4 years. You know, it just seems unrealistic to me at this point. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this or Brave and the Bold are going to happen. It seems like a mess. You know? I don't even know what you could do next. There's no discussion or even a reveal publicly about who the villain is going to be of this movie, and you want to build up some hype, so I understand why. But there's been no one debating or no, and Nolan did this too, by the way, no really throwing out anything saying, hey, we're kind of looking at these 3 or 4 villains to be in this movie. I understand the quiet nature of it. I don't like how things are going. I think we should have had part 2 by now. It's already been 3 years, you know? 2025, I mean, will be 3 years. That's only a few months away from that 3rd-year anniversary, so it's pretty long gone and pretty out of date at this point. Are people even going to care by the time that movie comes out? You know, I'll give you a little hint about something in my own personal life. My godson was born on the day the Batman came out. And I went to see the movie the day he was born, you know, because I couldn't go to the hospital or anything to see him. But I went to see that film. I was not impressed. And by the time the new one comes out, he will be 5.5 years old, which is crazy to me. This movie is just so bizarre. Everything about it just seems bizarre. The first one was bizarre in its own concept, how it did certain things. And again, I'll talk about that more in the future on a review for it, but I don't know if I ever really wanted more of that. I wanted more of Pattinson and Circus, you know? This whole thing rubs me the wrong way. I would just love to hear what you all have to say. And again, this is not to offend the James Gunn fans on my channel. And I'm not really anti-James Gunn. I just don't know if I fully believe he's the guy that should run the picture. But again, I like the motto of not making a movie or even greenlighting to get into pre-production until a script is done. Does that count as pre-production? I don't know. But for me, I agree with that motto, and I think it makes sense to do that. But all of the issues that are popping up with this movie and how weird everybody's being about it, that's the big thing here. Everyone's being weird. Pattinson's being left out of the loop, aside from being offered to come into the DCU as the Batman for the Batman Brave and the Bold movie and Batman Part 2. But even he was like, I don't know, it's kind of up to Matt. Matt Reeves apparently doesn't want to do that either. But James Gunn, again with that kind of an ego it seems, wants to have everybody come into his movie, have Pattinson there so he doesn't have to go through this worry of redeveloping a new Batman. I get all that. But I don't think the Batman Part 1 was that great to begin with, so I don't know. I don't know whose side I kind of land on with this. People are blaming WB for this. People are blaming James Gunn for this. I don't know if I necessarily fall on that line or in favor of Matt Reeves, because he could just be a slow worker. I don't know. But he pumped out, Planet of the Apes movies like there was no issue. He pumped out some of his other films like there was no issue. So, I don't know. Something just seems, again, bizarre and weird about this movie. Like, everybody doesn't really want to talk about it. The people involved with making it. That's just me. I would love to hear what you all have to say about it down below. What do you think is the best option here? Who do you think should be the villain for Batman Part 2? Or Batman Brave and the Bold, for that matter? I feel like Joker's going to get thrown in one of these movies at some point. The Barry Keoghan Joker, I don't give a shit about. I don't want any more of that at all after that little leaked teaser thing to IGN years ago. That was awful. I don't want it. He's just gross, disgusting. I don't need that Joker. But anyway, what do you all think? Are you excited about it? Who do you think should be Batman in the Brave and the Bold movie? I'd love to hear everything you have to say. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.